When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. Septum Sin versus the world. Septum Sin versus the world. Septum Sin versus the world. Septum Sin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching Septum Sen vs. the World. I'm Septum Sen. I'm here with Kotobuki Jake.
Hi.
And we're here to show you what's coming out to a video store near you.
Indeed.
Take a look.
Was that Mr. Larson?
A good variety. Some of the things I had want to touch on this week. There is a Grinch Ultimate Edition Blu-ray.
Yes.
Is there anything? Have you taken a look at the special features on that?
I have not, but I'm going to be interested in that because I do not yet have that. And you have to have How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
I've got it sitting here on mine. It's You go ahead.
You have a combination set, don't you?
No. Mine is.
You have an individual.
Yeah, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch.
Okay, good deal.
Right before Dragon.
But yeah, Dr. Seuss How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That's a classic. It's one of the greatest original songs from any TV theme. But it's an insert song, so it couldn't be on our last list.
Full something or other.
Yes.
But that's my version of it.
And that's not a bad addition there.
I mean, it's got making animation and bringing it to life.
Yeah.
Audio commentary.
Yeah.
Featurette of Dr. Seuss and the Grinch from Whoville to Hollywood. Songs in the key of Grinch. Interview with the composer and the vocalist. That's such a cool name.
Hey, Mr. Larson.
Thurl Ravenscroft.
Yeah.
That's just a cool name. It sounds like a Harry Potter name.
Yes.
Who's Who in Whoville.
Yeah.
Grinch Song Selections. And TNT How the Grinch Stole Christmas Special Edition Featurette with Phil Hartman.
So theoretically, an Ultimate Edition should have all that and more.
So hopefully. And again, I haven't taken a look at the special features, but if you don't have it, obviously this would be a great thing. I don't know if the transfer is going to be that much better, but hey, this one's shiny.
Yeah, shiny. Speaking of Ultimate Editions, there's a new Criterion set this week, and it's an old Brian De Palma film called Sisters that stars Margot Kidder. And I did look at the special features on that, and it's got a pretty decent number of special features. And of course, anytime you get a Criterion set, you expect something better than your run-of-the-mill And this film is from the early 70s, so there has been time for it to marinate, for things to enter the public sphere that could then be put on this collection. And De Palma is an uneven director, but he has done some classic stuff. So I'm curious about this film, and yeah.
Oh yeah. When we take our break and then come back in mid-November, we're going to try and come back with a list of 15 Criterions, or films that we want to see on Criterion.
15 films that need to get the Criterion treatment last week.
It's got to be the king.
Yeah.
Although Criterion has posted their January releases, and it's nice of them how they put them out a couple months in advance so you can drool over them for a couple months, and they have got some pretty fun stuff coming up. Of course, a couple weeks they have The Princess Bride coming up.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be awesome.
That one needed to a long time ago.
Yes, it did. And funnily enough, it was on my list of the 15 when I first wrote it a couple months ago. And then they announced the release, and I'm like, so maybe when we do our list, they will hear it and release some more. Okay.
So, Maximum Overdrive is getting a release. It doesn't look like it's a Shout Factory one this time. But it's one that's been out of print for a while. It's I have not seen Maximum Overdrive. There's a Stephen King adaptation. There's another adaptation done for Sci-Fi Channel called Trucks, which I have seen multiple times, and I have a screener copy of it. Just because it's funny to watch a small RC truck beat somebody's head in. I mean, like a Fisher-Price RC truck.
Hilarious.
I mean, it is. It's kind of funny to see it. I mean, I understand it's kind of disturbing, but funny at the same time. So I'm curious about this.
You'll put your eye out, kid.
I want to see this film, and this might be the way of getting it. I have it on my wish list. Can't afford it right now, but I do want to get a hold of it.
One notable thing for this week is that there is a pretty fair bit of anime coming out. And a lot of it I was kind of interested in, but I didn't really feel the need to note most of it. But there are a couple that are worthy of note. 91 Days is one that I've heard about and I've been intrigued by. I don't know much about it, but I believe it's a Chicago set gangster series. Am I not correct?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. And it definitely, that is an unusually frequent well that anime goes to. But from what I understand, they have generally done good with those series. And I'm curious about this one. I want to say it's a Funimation release.
Yeah, it is because of the Essentials. But to me, I mean, Baccano is the only one I can remember that's in that vein.
I think Night Raid 1931 is also one of those.
I've got that somewhere.
I've got it. I need to watch it. And I really need to watch Baccano. I've heard good things.
Yeah, I remember getting it when I found out it was going out of print. And then was put out for cheap. Well, Creepshow is getting a Shout Factory release. Creepshow, if anybody likes to watch Nostalgia Critic, he did his top 11 Stephen King movies, and it was his number one. Over Shawshank, over Green Mile, over any of those other ones. He picked Creepshow. And I'll admit, Creepshow is a fun anthology film. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the second one as well. The third one, not as much. But those two were very fun. Kind of like the old school Tales from the Crypt comic books and TV show. I think it predates the TV show. And it's well worth checking out. If you don't have it, I would definitely pick it up.
All right. And my next one, I'm mentioning more because of the format than because of a serious interest in the show itself, although I'm kind of interested. But Sentai has a new premium set coming out this week for their show, or for the show, Made in Abyss. And Made in Abyss looks fairly interesting.
That's a really nice set looking.
Yeah, it does look good. I mean, their premium sets are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, You know, and I'm curious about it. I generally, with the premium sets, I earmark them as maybe one day, but this one definitely I think is worth at least noting. If I can get a good price, I'll look for it. But if you know the show, then I do encourage you to check out these sets. Even if you prefer to go with a standard set, Sentai does do good, solid releases.
Yeah.
And they're expensive, but they're not badly expensive. I mean, I've said before, they're generally comparable to Viz at the very least. And
I agree with you. It is a.
Yeah.
I think they are pretty good releases.
And they're really good at doing deals. Are they still doing that big sale?
I think it's over. It was very brief.
I tried to avoid it. Like, I have no money, so I
purchased a
avoided
couple
it.
of things, but not a lot on this particular one. Just stuff that was essential that they marked down to a good enough price.
They did another one of their cleaning house DVD sales and caught up some Blu-rays in the bargain. So, it's pretty cool.
Well, next up is a re-release. Again, Shout Factory is releasing Get Shorty,
Yeah.
which is a fairly fun comedy.
I love it.
Not to be mistaken with its sequel, Be Cool.
You know, both of my brothers prefer Be Cool.
Wow.
I know. I like Get Shorty better, but they're both fun.
Yeah, well, no accounting.
Exactly.
But still, not bad.
Yeah.
I would definitely check it out.
And then we have a prop here to show you. I think it is Funimation as well that's doing this one, right?
Yeah.
There's a re-release of a show that was originally released here by Bandai, and when Bandai shuttered their operations, this one went off the reservation. But this is a really cool looking set. The old Bandai set is really cool looking set. The new one is not going to be this cool looking, but
It's got a like little pins right here.
But I like how it looks like a book. It's very
It's
cool.
very delicate though.
It is.
And this is, of course.
Yeah. I have never seen the show. I'm interested in it. It falls in that category. I've been seeing the title for several years now. Always there on the movie shelves, looking at me. Why don't you get me? Why don't you pick me up? I never did. So there's like that curiosity factor and a little bit of a nostalgia factor. But and again, I envy him the coolness of this set. But I might try to get the new release, and certainly it's worth noting that it is getting re-released. It's nice to know that most of the Bandai stuff has not fallen by the wayside. Some of it has, but most of it has not. Yeah.
So, we're moving through our stuff pretty quick.
Yeah.
Something I have to note, which is Scorpion King Book of Souls.
Yeah.
The only reason why I'm noting this, and of course there is a 5 movie Blu-ray set if you really want. I collect these because I'm an OCD completionist, but I don't recommend anybody collect them above the first film. The first film was fairly decent.
Being
The Scorpion King.
okay, because that was itself a spin-off of 2 far better films.
Oh, well, the Mummy and the Mummy 2.
Yeah.
And the Mummy series is not a bad series. I liked all 3 of the Mummy films. Brendan Fraser,
Rachel Weisz.
Yeah, that
God, she was hot in that movie.
back when Brendan Fraser still wasn't kind of done. When he was actually a thing.
But he was a thing.
So it was worth checking out. A nice adventure film. Almost,
and I don't know if I've mentioned on this channel, but when those movies came out, I saw the second one first, I think. And that was during the time when it was right after my college or during my college days. I can't remember precisely. And I was really into reading reviews at the time, and there were 3 or 4 that I read regularly, and of course Roger Ebert was one of them. Ebert was a phenomenal film critic, partly because he wrote the best reviews. And I remember reading the review for The Mummy Returns, and he talked about The Rock's role as the Scorpion King, and he was talking about, I have long maintained that The Rock has a movie career ahead of him, and after seeing this movie, I can say it is still ahead of him. I was just like, and he was right. The Rock has definitely done well for himself, but I just love the way
humble
he put
beginnings. But I don't know. The first Mummy movie, I saw it in theaters. I thought I was expecting something different than what I got. I wasn't expecting an Indiana Jones style adventure. I was expecting a straight horror, like Dark Castle remake horror. But,
I'm not sure what I expected, but I was pleasantly surprised. I went in. I've never been a huge Brendan Fraser fan. He's had his moments. He actually was really solid in Gods and Monsters and a couple other films, and he was solid in the Mummy films. But I went in there going, "Oh God, a Brendan Fraser film."
So, do you have another one for us?
Oh, well, I hope you don't mind. I've only got one left, and I know you were looking at it. Okay, one of the movies that came out this summer, I think we mentioned on this channel, because it caught my attention. I do want to see this. There's a movie coming out called Sorry to Bother You, and it focuses on telemarketers. And it sounds interesting.
It's also big on race.
Yes.
And I saw Black Klansman over the year, and
what was the dude's name? The star of the movie.
Gosh,
I want to say Donald Glover is his co-star, but who's the main? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank.
But he does a good job. The idea being that by sounding white, he of course is able to get more sales than of course sounding like himself. Yeah, which is sad.
Right. So it's kind of a satirical film that takes on race and telemarketing and all. And I've heard good things about it. I mean, it sounds like it would be a very interesting film to see. So I'm looking forward to that release.
Lakeith Stanfield.
Yes, Lakeith Stanfield. And he's been in a few high-profile ones lately. Tessa Thompson's in that? I didn't realize that. Okay, I'll have to see it now.
Terry Crews.
Tessa Thompson was one of the best things in Thor Ragnarok, and that's saying something.
Well, that's it for our informant. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like us, of course, click the like button. Subscribe, because we could definitely use many subscribers. We love all of you very much, but not that way. And of course, please share us. That's the best thing. Get us out in the open, and hopefully we'll keep gaining some popularity.
Yes.
We've been
get us
slowly
out in the
building.
wild where we can run free.
We're hoping to get like at least 20 more, and we will have 100 subscribers. So that's going to be a big thing. So we'll have a party at 100. At your expense. No, just kidding.
Okay. Right.
So we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Goodbye.